My name is Sonia L. Russell, and I am your nonverbal communications expert. A short time ago, I was called to serve on jury duty. While they were questioning certain jurors, two stood out that made me think about being a nonverbal communications expert. The first juror was a gentleman that was a fireman. He had several friends who were police officers. The defense attorney asked him how he would feel if a police officer testified. Would he be biased? He said no. I watched his facial expressions, and when he said no, he leaned back in his chair and he curled his lip and squinted his eyes and made me think that he was not telling the truth. He was not being truthful. Then she asked him again, would he be biased and would he believe the police officer over the defendant? He glanced at the defendant and his lip curled on one side, giving the impression of contempt. He started to get nervous. He moved forward in his seat and he started to shake. Finally, after several times of being asked, he admitted, I would be biased and I would not be able to be truthful in the jury box as far as whether or not I thought the defendant was guilty or innocent fairly, because I would believe the police officer. I had already known that based on his facial expressions. The second juror was a woman who was obviously very fearful. She had fear written all over her face. Her eyes were narrow, her brow was wrinkled, and her face was frowned. Her lips were frowned down. And every time she was asked a question, she would look from side to side at each person, and then she would say no very quickly. She was very uncomfortable in her actions and her movements, and I knew at that time that there was no way that she would be able to sit on that jury. Both of those jurors were dismissed, and I realized that I was glad that I was not called or selected to be on the panel either, because based on what I already had learned about nonverbal communication, I could tell by the movements of each person who was lying and who was being truthful. It was a very interesting time, and I am so glad that I took the course and I am able to look at people and see them past what they say. I am Sonia L. Russell, nonverbal communication expert, signing off.